since I've been down here like 5 days, and I've done 2 live streams with Max, and all anybody was talking about over the weekend was the election. Of course, again, so Ilhan Omar writes that stupid letter last week saying, "Oh, the election integrity and democracy is being threatened in El Salvador." Okay,
Yeah, no,
so
I liked your clip, and I also liked how Max kind of busted your balls a little bit for like having that as a topic.
yeah, it's funny. Yesterday we were like kind of debating because I'm like, I'm a socialist, and he's like, well, that sounds like capitalism. It's really cool. But so this is this. So again, we were talking about this. This is how they do elections in El Salvador. First of all, the election's on a Sunday when everyone's off, not a Tuesday. Then they do 3 days of you're not allowed to drink. Starting Friday night to Monday night, there's no drinking. No alcohol is sold. No alcohol is consumed. Bars are closed. It is so.
So I would not be able to follow that rule in the United States, but I don't think that's my fault. Continue.
It's because the choices are so bad. You have to be drunk to just participate in our system. Sunday I drove around a little bit and drove by some polling places, and people were excited. Plus, this is the first time in El Salvador's history, I believe, where El Salvadorians could vote internationally. So there was all these videos on Sunday of lines around the block at El Salvadorian consulates in DC, Maryland, LA, San Francisco, other countries overseas. Like El Salvadorians were lining up around the world to vote for this guy, because roughly they estimate 3 million El Salvadorians fled the country in the 80s and 90s during the Civil War and the gang violence. And now they're like wanting to come back. There's like reverse migration happening here. And then Max, we talked yesterday, and he was at Bukele after he won Sunday night, gave a speech from the National Palace is what it's called. And, it was packed in downtown San Salvador. I go, what was it like? He goes, it was nice. No one was drunk or fighting or crazy. People were kind of dancing, having a good time, but people were down there with their kids. It was this really like amazing environment. Plus, here's another thing, Ron. They only use paper ballots here. There's no machines that you can hack, like the die vote machines. Like there's none of that. There was like all this election integrity, and some people say, well, he rewrote the Constitution. No, his party, the New Ideas Party, is getting overwhelming support. They have like 52 of 60 seats in their parliament or Congress or whatever. And so the Congress, they decided, and the people voted for this, to change their constitution so he could have another term. Like, he didn't do it himself. Like how Biden is just sending money to Israel without congressional approval. Yeah. Like it was like, oh, this is actually what a democracy looks like. And this is what happens when you have a leader that is making everybody's life better. I mean, think about it, Ron. What if Bernie would have won in 2020? I just proposed this to you. And he got into office, and the first thing he did as president, because it was a national emergency, which gave the president broad powers, he said, Medicare for all. Everybody gets free health care in the middle of a once in 100-year pandemic. What if he just did that?
Yeah.
Which he could have.
Yeah.
He would have an 80-some% approval rating.
Right.
And he wouldn't lose. Like, he wouldn't lose just from doing that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always say to people, I'm like, look, if Bernie Sanders was president right now, he would do stuff that would get on our nerves every single day. But holy shit, would we be a million times better off?
Yes.
I mean, there's no, because of these little things called executive orders, and whenever people get all like, on their contrarian high horse, like, well, how can you say that when he endorsed Biden and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, because I know a little bit about how government works. There's these thing called executive orders. Bernie would have done some of them that Biden didn't consider doing. And those things, even though there might only have been one or two of them, they'd be really big frickin' pillars. Like, hey, healthcare, y'all have it. Student loan debt, gone. Climate emergency, declared. Those are two really huge pillars. Would we still have a ton of problems? Hell yeah. Would Bernie definitely flounder on some things? Absolutely. Would he get kneecapped by other people in government and kind of just bend the knee to it? Yes. Would it piss us off? Absolutely. But will we be a million times better off than we are right now? Also, yes.
Yes. You would just sit there. Everyone would go, well, thanks to Bernie, I don't have to spend 3, 4, 5, 10 grand a year on health insurance.
Right.
I mean, just that alone, and people would go, oh, he's got my vote.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's it. And so Bukele won with 85% of the vote. I mean, because he locked up all the gang members, which effectively El Salvadorians were paying roughly $5 billion a year in extortion money. You had to pay extortion money to the gangs, no matter who you were, just about. Unless you were like really wealthy off, you didn't have to deal with them. But you had to pay the gangs. So they were paying $5 billion a year in a country where the GDP is $28 billion. So that's, I mean, that's effectively the whole country. Bukele, just by locking up the gang members, gave the whole country a 30% pay raise, right? Where the minimum wage is $15 a day. So imagine, you know, you're suddenly not having to pay $30, $40, $50 a month in a country where $300 a month is a lot of money. What that does to you, if you have a little business, you're investing a little more in your business, you're whatever, you're spending some more money on your kids. And it shows, Ron. There's construction everywhere. Since the first time I came here in June, there's way more fixed roads. I mean, just way more. There's way more construction. All these people are working. I mean, it's this country again has a lot of problems. It's been a developing country, and it's had 4 decades of war and violent gang violence and corrupt politicians just stealing money from this country. But look what this guy has done. His first 5 years in office, I mean, in the last 2 years, he changed everything when he made Bitcoin legal tender and he arrested all the gang members. That happened in 2 years.